Welcome to TechTrends. TechTrends is a podcast series that provides perspective on the latest trends in technology, fintech, and digital. In today's episode, we'll take a look at the landscape of innovation, what it looks like at JPMorgan Chase and across the broader business ecosystem, and how companies can foster innovation within their own walls to drive business forward. I'm Anish Bhimani, Chief Product Officer for Commercial Banking, and joining me today is Larry Feinsmith, Head of Global Technology Strategy, Innovation, and Partnerships at JPMorgan Chase. Larry, welcome to TechTrends.
Hi, Anish. It's great to be here.
So, Larry, we've worked together for a long time and have been at the firm for a long time, and we've both seen a lot of change in not only the financial industry, but also the broader business landscape. And a lot of people ascribe a lot of that to innovation, but innovation is a term that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, right? Can you define, in your own words, what innovation means to you in your role here, and how your view of what innovation is might have changed throughout the years?
Anish, you're absolutely right. Over the years, being involved with our innovation efforts, what innovation looks like has changed. Innovation is absolutely a core part of what we do at JPMorgan Chase and how we deliver solutions to our clients. And I know you feel this way. We're really humbled to be known not just as one of the most innovative banks, but certainly as one of the most innovative companies in the world. But as part of innovation, at least to me, it's about the development of ideas and processes with an openness to experimenting with something new and thinking differently. And I would say the most important thing for everyone listening is to look at innovation in two ways: incremental, which I think of as smaller ongoing process changes, and disruptive, think the big ideas. And with those things in mind, there have been a few shifts. Firstly, technology is now a regular part of the conversations with all of our business leaders. Tech is so fundamental to everyone's business, and it's part of the everyday discussion. And in many instances, technology in the business has become one and the same. And secondly, the pace at which we innovate has significantly accelerated. We experiment with new ideas and emerging technology quickly while making sure we evaluate the associated risks. And the idea here is if it doesn't work out well, we aim to fail fast.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, right? Because you're going to try a lot of things and see what sticks, right? It's not that everything you try is going to be a home run, but people have to be okay with, hey, not everything's going to work out, and some things are going to fail, but failing fast is a really important point, right? You want to make sure you don't sort of waste a lot of time or spend a lot of resources on something that's not going to work out.
Yeah, Anish, you hit the point really well, because the worst thing anyone can do is try to make something work that isn't, and it's a complete waste of resources.
It's clear that the pace of change in technology is tremendous, right? And the technology landscape moves at a very fast pace. Companies probably really need to have their ear to the ground to get a full picture of the innovation ecosystem. How do we think about doing this at JPMorgan Chase?
Anish, as you can imagine, the pace of technology change and its impact on the firm has been unprecedented, which is why we're committed to being a technology leader and leaning in on innovation. And this focus helps us guide the ecosystem, align on where we're going, helps us adopt the latest and most innovative tech, inform our business leadership on the latest trends we should be staying close to.
Can you give me some examples of those ecosystem partnerships?
Sure. So first of all, the partnerships, of course, are driven by the trends that we're following. A couple that come to mind are commerce and payments have become a very important area of disruption and innovation. Things such as buy now, pay later solutions, to real-time payments, to trends around open banking. So I'll highlight a couple in fintech. We partnered to launch Chase First Banking, which offers solutions to parents and their children for responsible money management. We've also launched partnerships to help us digitize customer receipts for credit card transactions, just like we once digitized check deposits. Things like offering and providing digital offers and helping our business clients, which you're involved with automating our payment operations. Beyond these types of partnerships, we also have made a significant number of acquisitions to help accelerate our innovation agenda. And it's worth pointing out as a couple: digital wealth management and robo-investing to support our recently launched international consumer bank, payments capabilities to help drive connected commerce, and even helping students better manage their student loan processes. all of those have been accomplished by acquiring innovative companies.
So obviously a big part of that is staying in touch with what companies are out there and what the ecosystem looks like. What advice would you have to our listeners about ways that they can stay on top of these trends and engage the ecosystem more broadly themselves?
Yeah, several things you can do to be effective in this space to understand what's going on, grow your own network and knowledge. First, and easily enough, attend conferences to understand trends. There's many of them to do that with. Secondly, make sure you're connected to the technology marketplace, like you just said, by meeting tech companies relevant to your space and learn what they're doing. By the way, Anish, for organizations that don't have teams like the one I'm a part of, you're able to get access to many of these companies because there's third-party companies that provide that type of connectivity directly. And then once you meet these companies, influence the companies by sharing your specific requirements, industry requirements, very, very important. And one thing we like to do here, and you're very much involved in this, Anish, manage these tech relationships at the C-suite, at the executive level, which is critical when influencing, adopting, and creating partnerships. And lastly, and I think this is incredibly important, build your own network to learn. That could be with peers across the industry to understand how others are handling innovation and adopting trends, or internally with stakeholders so you can improve how cross-firm innovation is happening and what each division of a company is doing.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. A lot of people don't think about building a network externally to share ideas and other things like that with competitors because they view it as, hey, that's not a competitor. I don't want to sort of share with them. But a lot of these things are not necessarily the kind of things that people have qualms about sharing with each other and things like that as well. I think those networks can be very powerful across industry networks.
That's exactly right, Anish.
So partnerships are obviously a big part of this, right? What are other ways that companies can look to influence the ecosystem?
Partnerships are a two-way street, and our technology partners benefit from the relationships we build together as well. So we aim to influence them and provide guidance in how they should build their product, how they should meet our needs, not only of us, but the broader industry at scale. So one thing we do to accomplish this is an event that we host actually over the last 15 years, and it's upcoming, called the Technology Innovation Symposium, where we invite hundreds of CEOs and venture capital firms to hear directly from our technology leadership about our priorities, about our requirements, about our plans. This helps us better position our partners to address the challenges and opportunities we face so that they can build solutions we need. It's certainly not simple. In fact, it's a significant amount of time and energy, but the benefits we've seen far have outweighed the investments we've made. It's made it all worthwhile.
Yeah, I think the key point is being able to provide insights on what's important to you as a client, as a partner of these firms, whatever form you do that in, right? A lot of people may not be able to sort of, host a big conference like that, but you can still have a good amount of influence over the vendor's roadmap and how they think about their strategy as well, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked a lot about partnerships. We talked about the external ecosystem. Let's shift and now look inside the firm, right? So I think you'd agree that it's equally important to foster a culture of internal innovation within the four walls of the company, right? A, do you agree? And then B, what do we do to foster that kind of culture of innovation within the firm?
Anish, I couldn't agree more. Creating an internal culture of innovation is absolutely key in this process. For us, it takes many forms. But let's go back to incremental and disruptive innovation. Across the organization, there'll always be a group of people working on disruptive and frontier technologies, but everyone has the opportunity to make a difference by contributing to these smaller, more incremental changes that could make a process run more effectively. Let me give you an example of one of these incremental changes. At JPMC, we created a virtual desktop assistant, which was built in-house, and it provided employee productivity by making it easier and simpler to do everyday logistical tasks. Join a video meeting like this with one click, easily call or email one of our team members, and so on. So it seems small and maybe not impactful, but when you multiply those productivity gains across a 250,000 employee base, you get tremendous gains, Anish. I would call that incremental innovation. And then I would tell you that truly embedding innovation throughout the organization requires collaboration, by both tech and the business, everyone having their own ideas, identifying partnerships they'd like to develop. And there's a mantra we have, and I think it applies to everyone, which is innovation starts with you. It can't just be a top-down edict, it's everyone's responsibility. And from a communication perspective, making sure that everyone understands the role innovation plays in moving a company forward is the first step. And this is from Jamie Dimon and the operating committee to our new hires. That's why we have such a strong focus on creating this internal culture of innovation through a variety of different programs and events like our Innovation Week. You've participated in our Innovation Week, and that's where we get hundreds of sessions together across our global footprint and discuss innovation across many topics, across many skill levels. In fact, for that event alone, the people that have attended, 70% of them, if not more, have suggested that that has made them think of innovation in a new way and how to approach their job differently.
Yeah, I think one of the key points that you make there is, most companies don't have a chief innovation officer. It really is something that has to pervade the entire organization. And the example with the virtual assistant really came out of, hey, somebody had an idea, hey, it'd be cool if I could do this, or somebody has another idea to say, why do I have to click twice when I could do this easier, right? And in a previous episode, we had Sam Yen talking about design thinking and things like that. And one of the key themes he always says is everybody is creative. Just over time, you're born creative, and over time, society sort of beats that out of you, right? And the idea is everybody has good ideas, but a lot of people are reticent or somewhat shy and don't want to bring up those things because they're afraid of looking stupid or anything else like that. And I think having the sort of culture where people feel free to raise ideas, back to the idea of failing fast, it's okay if you don't hit a home run with every single one of them. I think that's a big part of it, right? And so, things like hackathons and ideathons and other things like that play a big part in that, right? Can you talk about the role that those kind of events play in the broader culture of innovation?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And activities like hackathons, which many tech companies do and JPMorgan Chase does, we bring together our software engineers, our business partners, to actually code and prototype new capabilities based upon new ideas. This past June, Anish, as you know, we had nearly 9,000 participants working on these new ideas and capabilities. And it's not just for our clients, it's also for our employees. And this is an area we continue to build solutions for the firm in a number of different areas. In the hackathons, we also support building solutions for the firm that support our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, such as a way to check emails and projects for inclusive language, or to better enable AI/ML to detect emotions in the written language we use. That was a very exciting area. Another area, Anish, we're very proud of, which I want to highlight, is the Code for Good hackathon. This is a hackathon which brings together our technologists together with socially responsible and good organization to help solve real world problems. And what comes out of these prototypes and these sessions can be carried forth into these organizations and put into their environment to impact our local communities.
Yeah, and hopefully our longtime listeners will remember that we've had both Julia Bacon and Ali Morano on to do episodes about social good. It's a big part of, I think, what attracts people to a lot of these hackathons and doing good for a broader community.
And the other thing I just wanted to bring up, Anish, is a form of a hackathon which just focuses on ideas. You don't even have to code. It's an ideathon. And that's where we bring our businesses together with their tech partners just to brainstorm on what new ideas can move our company forward, build better relationships with our clients and customers, and help our employees do things better at the firm.
So what advice would you have for listeners who want to create an environment that fosters innovation in their own companies?
My advice is to start small. Host a lunch and learn. Invite colleagues together for some pizza to propose some ideas to help solve a business challenge. Add a discussion about emerging tech at your next staff meeting. What are you seeing? What are you reading about? And most importantly, celebrate the success of your innovators, people who come up with new ideas, people who are inventing new capabilities. Become a role model. If members of your organization see you personally taking steps to learn about new technology and are asking for different ways to approach old and new problems, it will also encourage each of them to do so.
That's great. And if I could add to that, one thing I might also suggest is to cast a very wide net. Right. When you talk about hackathons or ideathons, right, we've done, dozens of those, hundreds of those, and there's thousands of ideas, and they don't all pan out. But what you get every time is just by doing that, people get a little bit more comfortable sort of taking a little bit of a risk, right, or sticking their neck out or trying an idea, and also getting a lot more comfortable with the idea that, hey, it's okay to fail sometimes, right? It's okay if every single one of these doesn't go into production. Of those thousands of things that we've done, a lot of them don't ever make it into production, right? But you learn for the next time when you do something, and every time gets a little bit better. I think it's safe to say that companies of any size, whether it's a small middle market company or a very large global corporate, there's going to be people or groups of people who aren't directly involved in innovation in their day-to-day roles. How important is it to engage those people and your broader organization on the whole in this kind of work and help ensure that the engine's firing on all cylinders?
Anish, I'm incredibly passionate about continuous learning. Not having the full organization on board will hamper anyone's ability to be truly an innovative firm. And at JPMC, we engage on a number of firm-wide learning programs. One is called Power Up, which helps our technology talent remain competitive through hands-on development of modern technology skills. And for the business, we have a program called Decode, which actually educates our business partners on tech trends and concepts so that they can have more strategic conversations about products and technology which impact our customer and client experience. In addition, we encourage our technologists to participate in the Amazon Web Services Deep Racer competition, where you use AI/ML to program model racing cars for a fun way to learn new skills. We also provide colleagues the ability to gain various technology certification and other types of professional development opportunities. We operate with the principle that every person, every team should be innovative at JPMC, but not everyone can be long-term future focused. This is why we're excited to have our own research team within technology. We refer to that as FLAIR, which stands for the Future Lab for Applied Research and Engineering, and it focuses on far-out technology, which we refer to as Horizon 3. I think you actually had our head of FLAIR on to talk about quantum computing recently.
We did, yeah, we did.
And then it's important to protect these ideas in each, which is done through our intellectual property organization, protecting all elements of a product and its underlying technology. This is really important because it helps us know the right safeguards are in place for our inventions, our investments into new technology. But more importantly, it allows us to create a culture that celebrates and recognizes our inventors through small group demos, conversations like this, opportunity to present their innovative ideas to senior management. And of course, Anish, this podcast, which I think is fabulous, each conversation that you host helps contribute to the broader ecosystem, the conversations in technology.
Oh, yeah, thanks. One of the things we always say is the better people understand technology, even just to increase basic technology fluency across the organization. It's one of those a rising tide raises all boats kind of things, right? So I appreciate that. Larry, I have to ask, what innovation or technology advancements are you most excited to see develop over the next, say, 12 to 18 months?
So that's a great question, and one I focus on every day. Cloud computing has completely changed the game and democratized access to innovation, not to mention so many software companies deliver their capabilities via software as a service on the cloud. So anyone can take advantage of the things I'm going to talk about. And the first one is one of my favorite areas, which is in the area of data and analytics. There's great innovation happening in the public cloud, which allows companies like JPMC and others to store data in the cloud, large amounts of data, analyze this data, visualize trends, and that's an exciting area of innovation. And then if you take it a step further, the large amount of data that you can store in the cloud, there's so much happening in AI, ML, leveraging data to provide predictive analytics and insights. And we're going to continue to see the popularity of these capabilities, leveraging the amount of data that you can analyze. We've already put these technologies into practice for our customer experience. We've developed highly personalized solutions for our clients and customers, helping to make it easy so they can best leverage our products and services that we offer. And then, of course, there's cyber, which I know is an area you focused on in the past, where there's been a tremendous amount of innovation, specifically around creating frictionless user experience, but maintaining the appropriate securities and controls.
So that's always a trade-off, right, is experience versus controls around that. Can you talk a little bit more about some of the innovations in cyber that you're most excited about?
Well, one thing I'm sure is familiar to our listeners is how to access your smartphone. This is passwordless authentication. But behind the scenes, it's leveraging modern devices, standard protocols of how to authenticate you with how you use your everyday applications on your phones. Additionally, these use native biometrics, voice prints, face scans, retinal scans, thumbprints, and removes the need to remember passwords altogether. And we need to bring those type of capabilities to the enterprise as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of cyber security people over the years have been really worried about things like mobile security or other things like that. And what we've always said is, look, a mobile device can be a very powerful security tool in its own right that enables you to do a lot of different things, whether it be authentication or geolocation or other things like that, that really enable a stronger security posture if you use them right. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So Larry, any closing thoughts on the steps that companies can take to drive innovation and foster that culture?
Anish, there are 4 things you should do to make your company more innovative. Connect to the ecosystem like we discussed, build an innovative culture through experimentation and learning, make sure to protect and recognize your inventors and inventions, and most importantly, don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
Those are 4 great points to remember. Thanks very much, Larry. So Larry, thanks for joining us today. And on a personal note, thanks for your partnership and friendship for all these years together working at the bank.
Back at you, Anish.
And to all of our listeners, remember, if you enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Tune in next time.